So when it comes time to fill it out, fill the one bubble that best describes the child's highest level mastered. What does it mean if they've mastered it? We said it like a dozen times right now, so you can probably guarantee you'll see that question on your quiz.
And to consistently do it.
Consistently, and what's the other one? Different settings and situations, right? So you need to have both of those. Different settings and situations, and that they display the behavior consistently over time. So what are some of the important points to remember? When you complete a DRDP, if you have a child enrolling in your program, they have to complete it within how many days of enrollment? 60 calendar days. Okay? Most programs really strive to do 30 calendar days because 2 months passes by really fast and a lot of development can happen. Okay? And then you need to do it every 6 months after that. And again, the great things about the DRDP is even if the child goes from an infant toddler program into a preschool program, you're still able to use the same tool. And we don't have this, all right, they're 2.5, but am I using the infant toddler tool or am I using the preschool tool? Okay? Because it's a continuum, it doesn't matter which tool the teacher chooses. Okay? If the child has an IEP, even though the DRDP is meant for universal design, you as a teacher aren't necessarily trained to observe an atypically developing child. So make sure you have that conversation with whoever the early interventionist is or the OT to make sure that you understand the behaviors appropriately and as they're being developed or as they're being displayed. The DRDP is meant to be an observational tool. So if we set up an environment for the child to display the behavior, it no longer becomes a valid tool because it's not being used the correct way it's supposed to be used. Okay, so make sure that you're using it in a play-based, authentic setting. One of the things that's also very difficult for teachers, and this is where we go back to our earlier lectures and what you have to do ongoing observation, is that one piece of evidence is not nearly enough to say that they've mastered it. Remember, what has to happen to say that they've mastered it? The child has to display it consistently and what? In more than one setting. So if we only have one piece of evidence, are we able to say that the child's developed it consistently and in more than one setting? No, because we only have one piece of evidence, so we can't say they've demonstrated it more than once because we only have one piece of evidence. Okay? And this is where it can be really hard to do DRDPs as they're meant to do because you see how hard and how long the tool is. If you have 20 preschoolers in your program, you have to provide multiple forms of evidence for every preschooler. That gets really hard to do. Okay? So there are different tips and tricks to make that easier. So how